What makes us different from each other? We're all the same energy. We're all frequency. We all matter. And we all do matter. But what makes us different from everybody else? It isn't just the words that you speak or tell everybody I'm different. I did it for the longest time, to be honest with you, because I grew up feeling different in my body, in how I looked. Growing up in Sweden and being one of the only Asian families in that little town, I was really dark and everybody else were very, very fair-skinned. And my fair-skinned friends wanted to be dark and I wanted to be Snow White. So, and I've been very different because I grew up as a tomboy as well, and numerous of things. But during the life journey that I've had, and to summarize it all, I think we get into the identity of sometimes how our family want to identify us as, or want us to be seen as, or how they want us to act. Don't feel this, don't say that, keep your judgment to yourself, keep your opinion to yourself, you're not allowed to speak. And certain cultures like that, where you're not allowed to speak as a girl. I come from a culture like that, and it was hard to find my voice, hard to be able to express or even find the words to tell somebody how I felt, or even I think I got used to people not listening to me. So when actually there came a time when somebody wanted to, I didn't know what to say. I got stage fright just talking to people and get nervous and start mumbling and just kind of but with time that passed, I think I started labeling myself with different things, like I'm spiritual, I'm divine feminine, I'm a star seed, I'm an engineer, identified me as work, and a lot of people identify ourselves as something we do, as a career, who we are, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, sister, brother, transgender, lesbian, whatever it is, right? We all have labels for ourselves, and so does society. And then when we come into our own authenticity, where we're trying to find our way past what the conditionings of parents, of our environment gave us, of who we thought we were, and you're kind of like crawling out of that stage, figuring out who you are, you definitely put labels on yourself. It's to understand who you are, it's to define who you are. You want to make a statement where I'm no longer that person, I am this person, and the more I identify with this person, this is who I've become. This label that I put on myself. And then you start to say, hey, I'm different. This makes me different from so-and-so person. This makes me different from other women. This makes me different on the dating sites. This makes me different of what kind of healer you are, what kind of therapist you are. And we get into that rat hole. And I used to do that so much until very recently. And I realized that I don't have to state how different I am. I don't have to actually say a word, because my vibration, my energy, who I am, shows you who I am. And if it was something that you wanted to get into my teachings, or things that I'm passionate about, you would see that I am different. And there's some generic things too, but I am still me. And I don't have to say, hey, I run my business very different from everybody else, and here's why. Because you will just feel it. And even my spiritual coach does the same thing. I don't think she's ever said how different she is. She knew she was different from the corporate world where she started. But now she very much understands that she's not her job. She wasn't her corporate job. She is who she is now because of who she became, what struggles she put her through, what lessons and knowledge that she learned along the way, and she never gave up on herself. Just like all of my clients and myself and my friends, right? It's about not giving up on yourself. It's about going through those phases of life where you're becoming authentic to yourself, where you're learning who you are, where you're learning what conditionings are, when you're learning to like unlearn those things, and when you're learning to laugh at yourself and others, and knowing that also anything anyone says to you or how they act is nothing about you. It's about them and their experiences in their internal world. And yes, people can trigger each other. Even the most healed person can trigger another person. We're all humans, right? So, and then like there's other phases where we learn to kind of maneuver between boundaries and between who we, what kind of personality we're molding into, because we're unlearning at the same time as we're learning. So it's a weird stage to be in, and it's kind of the cocoon phase, right? I was actually watching Legally Blonde yesterday. It kept coming up in my energy, and I wanted to food's ready. I wanted to address it because I watched it, and that movie is so perfect because Elle Woods was typecast as a party girl that had it all, but not so smart. Like, she liked to have the finer things. She had great friends, and she was top of her sorority. And then her boyfriend breaks up with her when she thinks he's gonna propose to her, because she's not that smart, because she doesn't represent what he needs, what his family needs him to be, because he wants to be a senator or something like that. But so she didn't fit his mold. She didn't fit his parents' mold. So he goes away to Harvard, and she decides, she has a bit of a meltdown, and then she decides, I'm gonna go to Harvard and show him wrong. I'm gonna show him what he's missing out on. I can be smart. I can be a lawyer. So she actually goes and takes the LSAT, studies hard, and gets all her friends to help her, to support. And against all odds, she gets in. And then she realizes that she doesn't fit in that crowd. But this is the cocoon phase, where she's actually trying to figure out who she is. She realized she's made a commitment, and she realized she's up against adversity. And then now she's starting to unlearn different things that she's learned about herself and what society thinks of her and what she thinks of herself, right? And she's about to give up several times, but she realizes she's naturally good at being a lawyer. She's naturally has information that nobody else has. She's uniquely her because she blended all of her worlds together, where she went to law school, she's intelligent, she's into fashion, she's into beauty and everything else, and she was able to get her client off and win the case and throw the actual lawyer, her professor, out of the case, and then be accepted at the top law firm. So can you imagine? This is her cocoon phase. It was hard during that time, trying to figure out who you are. Is this worth it? Is this really me? But not knowing where you're going, but at the same time you kind of understand the path forward. And then at the very end, she comes out of her cocoon phase, and she's getting proposed to by a really awesome guy that wants to be with her, that treats her and sees her for who she is. And she's going to work for a top law firm in that city, and also she's the valedictorian of the class, like, you know. So she started from here, where everyone thought she was ditzy and dumb and nothing, and everyone typecast her, and she ended up here at the very top and becoming one of the most favorite students of even the people that she's in school with, but also the professors. So it just goes to show that cocoon phase, it's very hard to be in it because we don't know what's going on. So you just have to keep your head down, and that's when you identify yourself. That's where you feel like you have to stand out and be different or blend in. But understanding the difference, that there is a part of life where you have to go through that phase, that journey to, like, you know, be who you are becoming. It's not easy, but like at the very end, when we come out of it, you know, all those labels that you added onto yourself, all those labels everybody else added onto yours, and then all that, the wanting to stand out, finding yourself and realizing, no, that's not me either, and just becoming who you are by just being who you are, by just accessing that information that you already have, that you naturally are good at. It just makes you stand out. It makes you different from everybody else. There's no one like you. Do you see what I mean? So there's no need to offset yourself that you're different from anybody else. There's no need to explain that you're a high value woman, or that you have boundaries, or you are a hell of a fantastic healer that's different from anybody else, or that your body's different, or that you work out different. There's no need to explain anything. You just are, and let the vibration of who you are, and like the confidence and belief in who you are, because that will carry you further. You'll notice the people that like take notice of you when you're not doing things that you think matter. People are watching, and that's what people care about. That's where they pick up who you are. I mean, I remember being on a retreat, and I would just walk down the steps, just kind of like what I do. And people would say like, oh my gosh, you're so funny, you're always happy, you have so much energy. I was like, what are you talking about? Just walk down the steps. But apparently I have a way of walking down the steps, and it's really happy. And apparently I have a way of, when I show up to a group setting, it's just uniquely me. So, and I realized that, gosh, when I think that nobody is looking, when nobody's paying attention, when I'm just being me and allowing myself to kind of relax and let loose and just chill, that's when people understand me. That's when people get me. That's when people see me. And that's where I stand out, because I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a conditioning or a view that somebody put on me per se. Now, that's a different story where, like, you know, everyone has a view of everybody else, and you know, but we won't get into that because that's a long one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a good day, and take care.